start with the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. So then we'll start with the approval of the minutes of the regular board meeting, February 22, 2016. Everybody get a chance to take a look at them? Any additions, corrections?
Good.
Okay, then I'll entertain a motion to approve them.
I'll make a motion to approve the minutes.
Second.
It's been properly moved and seconded that we approve the minutes of the regular board meeting, February 22. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion passes. And then we'll move on to the approval of the general fund vouchers, 73,217 through 73,280. Wire transfers 151, 60285 through 151, 6318. And activity fund vouchers 2346 through 2368.
They look good. Also move.
Do I hear a second?
I will second.
It's been properly moved and seconded to approve the general fund vouchers as listed. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion passes. And then we'll move on to the public comment question concerns section, and I do believe, Randy, you were signed up?
Yes, sir.
So the floor is yours.
Just 5 minutes of your time, Mr. Chairman. For the Clear Lake School District Board of Education, while in attendance at your February 8, 2016 meeting, I was surprised by a member of your board demanding of me to give an account for, quote, "What were you thinking?" as a former board member when Policy 528, Administrator Retirement Policy, was adopted in 2004. To ambush a private citizen in that manner in a public meeting exposes you to potential liabilities because it's an illustration of the bullying behavior many of us have been seeing happening on this board. My answer set the stage for this more complete response today from some of the many former board members who are present tonight, who either authored Policy 528 or were in support of it during our tenure. We were acting together in a collective desire to serve the best interest of our students, staff, and public. This policy was the result of fair and written negotiations with our administrators. It is our collective recollection that any such board policies would be affected with the input of WASB, Wisconsin Association of School Boards, or WASDA, Wisconsin Association of School District Administrators, or District Legal Counsel, following a thorough comparison with our conference and our region. Contrary to many of your comments over the past several months, at no time was there any thought of developing a, quote, golden parachute or a, quote, blank check. There has been a consistent insinuation coming from one or two on this board that we acted in a secretive and improper manner. There has been a distinctly insulting tone aimed at us both publicly and privately. We are here today to set the record straight. We acted as a fair-minded team with nothing to hide and certainly nothing to apologize to you for. This policy, 528, and decades of negotiations with the former union of our teachers was always done with integrity. Suggestions to the contrary are ridiculous. In fact, while not holding our breath, we await your apologies to our students and our staff for the unprofessional and inappropriate behavior on the part of one or two members of this board. This district had a history of healthy staff morale, due at least in part to trustworthy, respectful conduct, which was intentionally fostered by previous members of the Board of Education. This was a tradition for which Clear Lake was once known throughout the state of Wisconsin. We welcome you to revise and write a better policy. We have no quarrel with that whatsoever. Simply follow the path of fair and open negotiations with everyone concerned without having to insult us or the work that we did. We, the undersigned former board members, stand together for the restoration of the good name and reputation of our school district, something we treasured and labored to hand off to future board members. Sadly, this is something we see in jeopardy today. We took good care of Clear Lake schools. Now, as former board members and current taxpayers, we demand the same of you. If you cannot change your methods or your tone, you should step down from this board and allow someone else to restore our tradition of positive behavior for the sake of our children. Sincerely, Randy Dean, former board chair, joined by Norman Reed, former board vice chairman, Kurt Peterson, former board chair, Mark Munson, former board chair, Phyllis Ness, former board member, and Tom Grosskreitz, former board vice chair, signed by all of the above. And I'll hand a copy of the word.
Thank you, Randy. With that, then we'll move on to the spotlight on education. The first item is our valedictorian and salutatorian recognitions.
Okay, we'd like to recognize, we have a co-valedictorians this year, Ian Rubel and Sophie Warner. And then Seth Erickson is our salutatorian. If you guys are here, you want to stand up and be recognized? Truly one of the most impressive accomplishments, high school students can have, so congratulations, guys.
Well, then we'll move on to our wrestling state qualifiers.
Then second, we'd like to recognize, we had 3 state qualifiers this year. Ryan Anderson, if you'd stand up. Noah Zorek, if you'd stand up. And Ian again, Rubel, stand up, please. These 3 guys went down. Such a huge accomplishment to even get there. But for me, as a newcomer into the district, having, this is 2 months in, for me it was even more impressive to see how they carried themselves throughout the process from, sectionals down to the state tournament, and even while at the state tournament. In that, we had two were on the podium. Ryan was a state champion, and then Ian took a second, so both in the finals. So very neat. So congratulations, guys.
Very good, you guys. Thank you. And then we'll move on to item C, the AP History exam reader.
So if Mr. Crawford would stand up. Nick, Mr. Crawford he received the AP History exam reader. I'm going to let him explain what that is so I don't butcher it.
Sure. Basically, this summer I'll be heading back to Louisville, Kentucky to spend a week there in June grading the AP Advanced Placement U.S. History test. And was invited by the College Board, which is a company that runs the entire Advanced Placement program and works directly with high schools and universities across the country to kind of, their words, set the bar, so to speak, for college preparedness for high school students when they leave high school. And it'll be myself and about 1,700 other teachers and history professors from across the country, and we'll grade about 2.4 million essays over the course of 7 days. And as awful as that might sound, it's actually something I'm looking forward to do it again, because it's the best professional development I've ever been a part of in a decade of teaching, and the networking with other teachers and the professors, and just being able to see the test, know exactly what the College Board and what these universities are looking for out of the high schoolers when they enter into college is invaluable, and be able to bring that back here and have full confidence that our kids who challenge themselves and take those AP courses will be ready to go and ahead of the rest of the game when they get off to college is well worth it. So I'm excited to go and grade a bunch of essays and work with those people again, just because I know it's worthwhile, and that's why I'm going to do it again.
Thank you,
Sounds
Mr.
good.
Crawford.
Well, thank you. And if I can interject, Josh, we like the spotlight on education part of our agenda, so thanks for pushing to get that on there. Now we'll move on to the old business, discussion of self-evaluation survey 360.
So last meeting, we had a little miscommunication, didn't have a projector here, so real quick, just wanted to demonstrate for everybody. Been talking about capabilities of just developing our own survey. So don't worry, I'm gonna shoot it up there.
Okay.
Oh, yeah, we just turned it so we wouldn't have to do that, so. So sorry, I'll turn my back to you, but give us a second to fire up there. But basically, you know, we were talking about looking at 360 surveys and things like that, and we just, rather than pay for it, we feel like we can design our own. So we just wanted to show everybody what it would look like if we did. We can come up with our own questions, whatever we want to do, and just wanted to give everybody a sense, if we didn't have familiarity with it, of what it could look like, and you know, what the results come out looking like and everything like that. So. Projector a second here. I didn't turn it on before because, you know, it usually goes, you turn it on and then it falls asleep by the time you want to use it anyway. So.
If I could take this moment,
Yeah.
you young guys that were here and recognizing the Spotlight of Education, if you guys want to sneak out anytime, feel free to. But if you want to hang out, you're welcome to, too.
It's working before.
Brilliant.
So, anyway, so we're even going to do that. So anyway, this is just a survey. I just pulled up a sample. We have an account as a district. And then just so one example, we used it last year for, I've mentioned, for the school-wide Title I program. We send out a survey out to the parents of kids in school, and then we send out to the teachers as well. I just pulled up the parent one here just to kind of see. So, you know, you can set it up to come in different ways, but you can, so it just comes in as a bar graph. You know, so we ask the question, okay, my children speak positively about their classroom experience. So you can see you've got it as a bar graph. You can look down here at the actual percentages of the answers. Comments, people can put in comments. I'm not going to open up the comments just because it wouldn't be appropriate for this setting right here. But so again, the point of all this was just to show everybody here's what it would look like if we did a survey like this. So this is the one we did last year. We did similar questions. This is the third year. Last year was the third year. The first 2 years we had done it on paper.
So this is the first year, Chris, you've did it with the...
Last year. So this is from this was answered last April 2015. So it's just an old example. We're actually working on the new one to send out this year.
So that'll be pretty interesting once the data starts piling up to see trends and that type of thing.
Yeah.
And then what this will allow us to do with the 360 is, even though it's specific to administrators, it's kind of generic as well, if that makes sense. So you could really tailor to fit each individual needs. Like so for mine, for example, you know, you could have a budget, something pertaining to budget where maybe wouldn't be appropriate for, you know, like Mr. Gillis to have. You could maybe have something about if you like his ties or not, or, you know, but more specific to his role. And then, you know, so each one of us could even have our own separate survey that we're sending out, more specific, so there aren't those, you know, kind of like N/A questions where it doesn't pertain to us.
So, any other questions or?
As a 360 survey, we're talking about surveying who?
The 3 administrators.
But who would be taking the survey? The board members?
I mean,
It's
you
up to us to decide
definitely
whatever-
could.
So I'm just kind of...
For me, it would probably be more appropriate for mine to go to the 5 board members. For, you know, Chris and Nick, it would go to, you know, depending on how we wanted to set up, but it would go to me. You know, sometimes you have it set up where you send it to all staff. Sometimes you say, you know, select 5 teachers, 5 support staff, 5, you know, whatever, and then you kind of rotate it every year. So it really depends on how we want to have it set up.
We can send it to parents. I mean, that's
Yep.
what we did this one. You
Right.
make an email link and you just use the school messenger to send it out to all the parents. You can do that.
I talked to another administrator that had the whole staff weigh in on it.
Yep.
And they said it was pretty humbling, you know, and things that they thought that they did well, turns out they were a little bit weak on, and it showed their strengths.
Yeah.
Yeah, I didn't pull out, but yeah, we did that last year too. We did one on the school, not just about, but the staff did one, not just about me, but just about different things about the school. But part of the questions were about me. Did the same thing, yeah.
So if we did one about you, and we still wanted to say something about Nick's tie, we could put it on there.
You could probably,
Make a
yeah.
comment, yeah.
Talked to Nick about his tie, yeah.
Comment section.
Looking forward to it then. Okay, any other discussion on 360?
Who's gonna build it? Is Chris gonna take the lead on that, or who's building it?
I didn't draw that short straw.
The three of us are going to work on it together.
Yeah.
Yeah, we put it together.
Ask our administrative staff to pull it together.
Yep.
Okay, awesome.
All right, then we'll move on to old business B, approval of board policy 870, public concerns and complaints.
So just inserted that flow chart that you guys were looking to have put in there. So it's on the third
yep.
page.
How about the template? The questionnaire template that we had in there? We had it last time.
Oh, did I not have that in there? Sorry.
And then we forgot a sentence.
What's that?
We forgot to put in the sentence.
For which one?
On the bottom of the policy, where we found it. The sentence to include a copy of the report to the complainant as well, so that they get.
Oh, okay. Yep, I can add that in there.
Okay. Any other discussion regarding 870?
So approve it pending,
Yeah.
that sentence put in there, and
Why don't you read the sentence out, Tom, exactly, and then we'll have it on the record, and then we can approve it with that sentence.
a copy of the report shall be given to the complainant for their review.
Okay, so then I'll entertain a motion with that sentence added.
Also move?
Do I hear a second?
Second.
It's been properly moved and seconded that we approve Board Policy 870 with the sentence included. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion passes. And then we'll move on to old business, discussion of cyber policy.
So the cyber policy, I talked to Jim Leadholm, and he said no district has put that in place yet. So I talked to Ben. We're going to call Jim so Ben can get a little bit more of the details on the specifics to the policy, and then we'll bring it back to you.
So it's a little ahead of the game yet, but just something that
Yeah, and
he brought up for our information.
Yeah, and
It's
Jim
coming.
even kind of shared with me that it was head of the game as far as even bringing it to the board, because it hasn't been, nobody has introduced it or adopted anything like it yet into the policy, or into their board policy.
Okay, so then we'll wait to see that again then.
Sounds good.
All right, move on to old business D, discussion of mission and vision update.
Okay, so that's been going really well. We created a list of core values, and we've met as a staff. I surveyed the entire faculty to get where they felt our core values should lie, and then we are in the process. I'm going to send a similar survey out to the parents, and then we also have a student population that we're going to be surveying as well. So we're in the mix of it, but it's going really well, and I think there's been a lot of good discussion surrounding it. So, and then I sent the survey to the board, obviously, as well, so you guys got that. So pretty similar survey will be going out to the parents in the community as well. We'll just keep you posted. We're going to keep moving forward on that, and hopefully end of April we'll be holding a workshop where we'll be inviting kind of the outside, I guess for lack of better terms, the outside stakeholders into the elementary building to kind of voice their say on, where this is headed and what they'd like to see, and then also kind of showcase the elementary building. Since there's been a lot of updates, we thought we could kind of tag team that up and take that opportunity as allowing people into the doors who haven't seen the elementary, some of the updates, to take a look at the elementary building.
Is there a way that we could get it to, I know we've got a good email base with parents and things, but like the outside stakeholders you kind of mentioned, any other way we can get it to them in our newsletter or something like that, or
Yep,
like an announcement?
Yep, we've talked about putting it in the Clear Lake Chronicle, and the workshop will kind of be two-part, allowing those individuals that don't have the email to come in and, share some of their, take a look at what we've started, and then also just be a part of the process from that point forward.
Okay, thank you.
Yep.
And that, Josh, when that happens, that's going to be still related to the core values and searching out the core values, or will the core value, will we be done with that portion of it already?
We should have the core values pretty well established as far as, themes. I mean, it won't be set in stone, obviously, but I think we'll have a pretty good theme just by looking at what we already have. At least a general idea, and there'll be room for discussion as far as possibilities of adding things. And I think as we go along throughout this process, if there is a belief in one area, we don't necessarily have to create a whole new core value, but maybe even tailor it to fit under a different core value. Because we'll have a mission statement, and then each core value will have, like a 2 or 3 sentence kind of explaining that core value that might encompass, multiple pieces.
Okay. Okay, anybody have any other discussion? Well, thanks, Josh. Thanks for pushing that forward. So then we'll move on to new business, approval of youth options request.
Mr. Gillis, take this one.
We've got a student in good standing that's requesting to take a CNA class that we don't currently offer in Clear Lake. She meets all of our requirements, so we're recommending that she gets approval for the course.
Okay. Then would it be okay if I read this to the board?
Sure.
Just not the name.
Not student name.
Okay. Dear Board of Education, my name is, and I am years old, a sophomore, looking to get a head start on my future. I'm interested in taking the Certified Nursing Assistant class through Youth Options. This career is something that came up a lot as something that I would be good at in my planning and decision-making class. I feel like taking this opportunity would help me start my future, and the school's help would be appreciated. I look forward to hearing your decision. Thank you for your time and consideration of my request. Sincerely. Okay. That sounds like an easy one.
Sounds like an easy one.
Then I will entertain a motion.
I'll move.
I'll second.
It's been properly moved and seconded to approve our CISA 11 shared service
Nope.
Youth
Youth
option.
options.
youth options. Sorry about that. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion passes. I like that program. Now we'll move on to the new business approval of CISA 11 shared service contract.
All right, so I put in there the shared service contract for next year, 2016, 2017. I met with Jerry Walters, who's the director of CISA 11, reviewed all of what's in our contract currently, and not looking to make any changes at this point. Just looking for board approval to continue it as is. Quickly realize how valuable the CISA has been, just in my 2 months here. It's a tremendous resource for us, the district.
Okay.
Makes sense.
Any discussion? I'll entertain a motion to approve.
I'll make a motion that we approve that.
Any seconds?
Second.
It's been properly moved and seconded to approve the CISA 11 shared service contract. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion passes. And then we'll move on to new business C, discussion of WASB workshop. David?
Yep, I attended that at CISA 11 about 2 weeks ago, and it was a workshop for our board and for superintendents discussing the roles and responsibilities in community leadership. So what I did is they had a handout that kind of summarized all the things that we talked about, but we would break down into groups and we got to discuss things with other school boards. And we are not the only school board that is going through some changes. So, the things that really struck me and what they really emphasized was a collaborative relationship between the board, the administration, the community, teachers, students, parents. All the stakeholders need to be involved. If you go through here, the collaborative is the key right there. And open communication, both internally and externally. They want us to review our district plan, review our policies, to create collaborative relationships with all the stakeholders at all levels, to gain support for student achievement as our district's top priority. That's kind of in a nutshell what it was all about. And we just talked, we broke into small groups a couple times and just talked about what each district was doing and where they were at. So it was really good. It's like I said, this is about my 6th workshop I've gone to now through CISA and through the WASB. So if anyone wants to have the summaries, I printed a bunch of them up here, so you guys can take a look at those.
Thanks.
Sounds good. Well, thank you, Dave.
Thank you.
Okay, then we'll move on to our superintendent notes section.
Oh, D, skip D.
Oh, for gosh sakes.
You just,
All right. We'll do new business D, consideration of canceling the second meeting in March. See, I didn't want to hit that one.
I put that on there. It's what's been done in the past as far as past practice with the board, it looks like, and wasn't on, that falls on that the Monday after Easter. So just throwing it out there as far as consideration of canceling that meeting due to it not being on the calendar. And
We don't have anything that we have to act on that you know of at this point?
not that I know of, no.
Do we generally skip that meeting?
We did, it's like 2 a year. It's like this one and Thanksgiving.
Okay, well,
I won't sweat missing a meeting.
well then I don't think we need to move it. I think we just move on. Correct?
Okay. Sounds good.
Okay. Now then we'll move on to our superintendent notes. Mr. Joshua Ernst.
Okay. Had a couple things. That's last couple weeks, state wrestling, which we touched on, which was a really fun experience for me, having the wrestling background and being previously a wrestling coach, and a lot of fun down there, but really impressive to watch how our student athletes handled themselves down there. Got to be a part of FFA sectionals, which was new for me. That was very neat to see. Maddie Colbeth and Mrs. Scott put that on, and it was just very impressive to see how many kids. I didn't really even know what I was getting myself into, actually, with volunteering to kind of give the opener, and kids from all over. Really impressive as far as my mindset as far as what I thought it was going to be and what it actually was. So some really neat skills that the kids get to be a part of, and it was fun to see all the different schools and the kids excited about it. So it was neat. Parent-teacher conferences, got to experience my first one of those here in this side of the state, so it was neat to see. Elementary talent show put on by Ms. Ritterbush and Mrs. Millar. It was fun to watch all of our little buggers with the excitement of their talent, and then the staff got to kind of be at the expense of the whole building, got to make fun of themselves a little bit and watch the kids, all the students' reaction was very fun. They had, I think half the staff out there, for lack of better terms, making a fool out of themselves, and the kids absolutely loved it. So it was neat to see. Got to read over. It was Dr. Seuss week, so you gotta love reading a book that has tongue twisters, and you gotta be on top of your game when you're reading a Dr. Seuss book to the entire elementary body over there. So a lot of excitement. I competed against Mr. Peterson over there with some getting socks on competition and some wild competitions that they had in store for us, so that was fun. What's that?
It was heated.
It was heated, it was heated.
Who won?
There was a tie. We qualified 6 of our students to the State Visual Arts Classic competition. Ms. Waterman will be taking those kiddos down to Madison in a couple weeks to compete. Track is underway, and it's nice to see there's some green out there and not as much white. Softball started tonight. Kindness Week kicked off today by Ms. Kaler. So I got my first little kindness little thing from one of the students. Service learning planning is in full swing. Ms. Blanchard, Ms. Carlson, and Ms. Tronstead are working on that, along with Mr. Gillis and the high school staff, collaborating with the elementary staff as far as what opportunities are going to be taking place, which is really fascinating to see what, as far as a core value, we talk about that and what we hold true and what we do as a district. It'd be tough to find any other district that does this type of act, I think, and, kind of puts everything aside and just donates their time to, just that service learning piece. Really neat to see, and it makes you excited as a parent for, having kids coming into the building, that character piece and that citizenship piece that is instilled in the kids. So I'm very excited to see how that's going to kind of all roll out, because there's a lot of different things going on and in different directions, so it's going to be neat to see, and I'm planning on taking a van and kind of driving around so I get to see a little bit of everything. And then, like I said, the last thing here, the mission and vision update, which I shared with you. Very excited about that, and the staff has bought in and really participating and helping me out, and the admin team and I are working on drafting things and sending surveys out to try to get all the information that we possibly can to really get a full grasp on what everybody, all the stakeholders view to be our core values in this community, not only our school district, but really the community and what we value, and how that plays a role within our school district. So it's a fun process to be a part of it, especially from, I'm really trying to step back and not voice my opinion, because I'm brand new here, and I want to hear really the true stakeholders. I mean, obviously I'm a stakeholder, but I'm new to it and haven't invested. I'm invested in it because my kids are going to be here, but it's neat to see everybody sharing what they feel to be true as core values. So a lot going on, but a lot of fun stuff, and now we're transitioning into the next season of athletics as well, so that'll be fun to see the track and the softball and golf. So
Right on. Okay. Well, thanks, Josh. Then we'll move on to the future agenda items. Anybody have anything that we want to
We don't have a closed session?
throw out there? We do.
We do, okay.
I didn't skip one this time.
Okay.
Nothing, guys? Okay.
I think we're on a good roll here so far.
I think so too. So then we will move on then to contemplate a closed session. You guys, thanks all for coming in, taking part in board meetings in our school district.
have a good night, everyone.
Yeah. Somebody want to make a motion?
I'll move.
Do I hear a second?
I'll second.
Then properly moved and seconded, we move it into contemplated closed session according to WSS 19.85, considering employment compensation or performance data of any public employee over which governmental body has jurisdiction or exercise responsibility, and WSS 19.851F, considering financial, medical, social, personal histories or disciplinary data of specific persons, preliminary consideration of specific personnel problems, or the investigation of charges against specific persons, except where paragraph B applies, which, if discussed in public, would be likely to have a substantial adverse effect upon the reputation of any person referred to in such histories or data, or involved in such problems or investigations. I will poll the board. Thomas?
Yes, sir.
Yes.
Brent?
Yes.
Pete? Dave?
Yep.
And myself, yes.
Good.
We are in closed session. All right, so we're back in open session here. I will entertain a motion to help pay our golf coach. How do you guys want to word that motion?
Make up the difference of the, was it 1,100 last year, so, and there's only $1,000.
Yep.
Sure.
Move to approve to take $100 out of our general fund to pay the assistant golf coach.
Do I hear a second?
Second.
Been properly moved and seconded that we make that motion. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion passes. And then the next item would be a motion, to entertain a motion to have Maddie Kobeth drive our students down to state FFA.
I'll make that motion.
Second.
Been properly moved and seconded that we make the motion for Maddie to drive the students down to the FFA, down to Madison. All in favor signify by saying aye.
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 All opposed? Motion passes. Tell her to be careful, Josh, if you would.
Will do.
And now I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
I will so move.
I will second.
It's been properly moved and seconded that we adjourn. All in favor signify by saying aye.
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 All opposed? Motion passes. We are adjourned.